Coach, I hate to have to keep asking about this, but unfortunately, I don't know if you saw the news, Washington.
You want to start with the juice guy? Because I want to start how you normally start.
Then let's start with the juice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the juice guy of the day it's real. This guy's been improving ever since the summer. 11-foot broad jump, enhances speed. Stephen Hall on defense has been tremendous, has a really great 3 days. And then I think you really show who you are. Maybe when you're a little banged up, you're not at your best, and that was Devin Kalani. I think he brings energy to each and everything that we do, and I just think it's so powerful for our team.
Just kind of on the personnel side, too, noticed Jamori Colson not out here the last couple of days. Just any update on him?
Yeah, Jamori's out with an academic issue he's working on, and that's part of our process. These guys aren't professional athletes. Being a student athlete really matters, and it's vitally important.
I think Jamie was about to ask about this, but so during practice, Washington and Oregon agreed to join the Big Ten, which puts obviously the Pac-12's future in danger. I'm wondering if you had any awareness of that, and if just kind of what your reaction to that is.
Obviously, I didn't have any awareness. My focus is here with this team. I think it's just one of those things when you really look back, and I said it yesterday. The Pac-12 was comprised of 12 amazing state institutions, high academic institutions, great, tremendous athletic institutions for a long time. I woke up as a kid and the Rose Bowl was Big Ten, Pac-12, Pac-10 back then, and that was a big deal. Traveling across the country, you look at the NFL, they got tons of research on how hard that is, and that's for professional athletes. For student athletes, the guys that got to come back and take an exam and missing class, I think it's tremendously difficult, and I think it hits home. I talked about rivalries yesterday. To think it's the end of the Apple Cup, to think it's the end of the Civil War. I don't even know if they can call that anymore. But at the end of the day, what's it worth? I understand business. I understand change. Everyone's got to change, and we got to adapt. And Wazoo will find its way. We have for 100 and some years, and we will again. So I'm not privy to the information. I think in uncertain times, I think the biggest thing that I want to do is double down on the now. I want to double down on this team. Our coaching staff, these players, we've poured everything we possibly have into these guys. Sometimes I start a camp, I'm exhausted because in summer I wanted to be around these guys. I want to give them every ounce of everything that I possibly can have. No news, no uncertainty is going to possibly change that. Okay, so I'm doubling down on right now. And I'm excited about this team. I think we've quietly built a really strong team, and I think we're building something special, and we'll continue to do that.
Have you thought much about your kind of team's place in all this realignment?
I haven't thought a second about it. I have no time to focus on that. That's for other people to control. My control is right here, right now. Well, we just had a really good practice, first day in pads. We were extremely physical, and I thought the energy was very focused. It wasn't a bunch of rah-rah and a bunch of just, singing and dancing. It was some focused, competitive, tough energy. This is a hard game. You learn a lot about yourself out here in pads. First thing we did was congratulate the freshmen on finishing their first padded practice. That's hard. I told the old guys to remember where they were, when they were a freshman. So a lot of our guys were down in Lewiston getting their butt whooped on, right? So it takes you back to those moments, but that's why this game's so special.
What do you think of Josh Meredith's practice today?
I think Josh, the last couple of days, has caught my eye. I think he caught a 5-yard pass yesterday, took it for 50 yards. Once again, a lot of people don't appreciate development. They don't appreciate time. They just want guys to come in and instant success, and you think that's so easy. It's not. Right, so Josh has quietly worked his tail off, and I think that's important for the process and where we're going and how we're going to develop players.
Ethan O'Connor, it seems, every day out here has made at least one or two plays that just it looks different when he does it with his athleticism and his length. What have you kind of seen from him through these first 3 days?
Well, I think Ethan is very confident. I think that's where it starts, Jamie. I think he's very confident. He came here with a level of confidence, and that's what you need as a young guy to come out here and compete. When we broke yesterday, I told the young guys, don't wait. This isn't a waiting game. Who can play right now? And we double rep, and I learned that from Coach Bull at Wyoming, and that was an old Nebraska thing. So those guys don't just get 4 to 8 plays a game, right? Or practice, they're getting 25 to 30. So guys like that can flash, and you can see what they do. because you know this game, the later you get in the season, a very physical Pac-12 schedule, you're going to need guys like that. And, we had Javen Robinson impact this team last year, so let's see what happens.
Despite all the conference realignment, why is it so important to remain focused on this team and the task at hand?
Because it's the only thing that we can control. I don't control anything else that happens outside. I think we got great leadership and President Schultz and obviously Pat, and excited to let those guys lead us into the future of a very strong Washington State.
And it's already been day 3 of camp. What have been just some overall takeaways?
I think, well, the physicality and our strength levels are showing up. I think you really see that the first day in pads. I think we've advanced schematically. I think our guys are more confident, which allows you to play faster. I talked about no hesitation, right? So they're really knowing what to do. I think they have an extreme focus on how to do it because technique wins, and then no hesitation. So we're getting there as a team.
Coach, like you said, first day in pads, but it looked really technical today. How do you make sure that these in-between practices and some of these practices don't go into the mix?
Well, I think it's all in the plan. You got to really invest in the plan, and it's callus versus blisters. Our guys need to be seasoned, but they don't got to go too far where they're just broken down going into game 1. So early in camp to finish this week and next week, it's going to be physical and aggressive. We'll take it back when we need to. We kind of go too hard. I never say one soft, but too hard, one low. So there's a plan to this. You just can't. That's why they changed it from 2-a-day, 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 right? You got to find a way to navigate the mental with the physical.
Like you said, a lot of energy, too, with those pads on. It looked like the linebackers and the DBs were really flying around. What'd you like out there?
Well, I was with the young guys a lot today, but we will go as the core of our defensive unit goes. So we've had a critical eye on those guys, but I think they're more comfortable. They've been here now, a whole semester and moving forward. But I thought it was competitive back and forth. I thought the defense started fast, saw the offense respond. It was kind of mixed to finish. We'll see what the tape says. Then we blow it up at the end. We're really focused on finishing. One of our kind of deficiencies studying last season was finishing in that fourth quarter, and that'll be a focus of camp.
When guys put the pads on in camp, do you typically want them to be like super uber aggressive on that first day, or how do you kind of handle that to not? Because you mentioned the slow ramp up.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is, we work with Steve Jones. He teaches us about the energy dial. There's energy for optimum performance. So if you're way over the top, that's when you're not going to be focused on your technique and your fundamentals and what you need to do. And obviously it's hard to be underneath your optimum energy because pads, bring that out of everybody. So I think it's one of those things where energy's high. In the history of football, the first day of pads, I remember back to my day, you could hear the defense down there in tackle circuit just going wild. So that's what today brings, because you can only play football in pads, and they don't allow us probably enough practices like they used to really go out there and do it. So you got to maximize these days.
And you still got one more day here this week, but then what do you look for in that transition from week 1 to week 2?
Constantly getting better. I think we have the baselines of where we're at. And then our guys got to take it to task, come back in the afternoons, look what they did wrong, and crave coaching. Real professionals, real guys that want to get better, crave coaching. And the best part is we got a staff that loves the X's and O's and love the little diligence to the process. So every day you got to come to get 1% better.
I know you said on day 1 for the guys coming out of high school, if there's mistakes made, it's
it's
fine.
Eyes,
just don't do it again.
Yeah.
I know it's only day 3, but how have you seen kind of that? Is there a little bit more comfortability there? Are
Not yet. I saw even wider looks, in the first day in pads, like, ooh, this is what it's like, But once again, we assign all the freshmen a big brother, and their job is to tell them, hey, I remember those days. I know you see me as, Ron Stellan Jr. and all-conference Brennan Jackson, and those guys, when we go back to their tape as a freshman, I'll show plenty of reps of RJ getting buried in one-on-ones his first day. And it's a humbling experience, right? You get recruited, everything's great, everyone tells you, here's your future, but then you come out here and you're like, ooh, it takes some time, right? So I try to remember that, just, have reasonable expectations about where you're at and how you can go individually out each day to get better.
You've explained a couple points to why the conference realignment isn't the priority at the forefront of your mind, but can you get into kind of how it isn't a distraction and how mentally you're able to just kind of put that aside?
And just focus on the now. I can't control it. I just focus in the moment. That's all I can do.